Let me talk to you a little bit about taxes, because I think everybody is interested in the situation on taxes. And there are three taxes that we're talking about. One is inheritance taxes, a second is estate taxes, and the third is income taxes. The nice thing about Arkansas is that Arkansas does not have an inheritance tax. And let me kind of explain this. An inheritance tax is a tax on the person who inherits the money. So if you're a grandchild and you inherit some money and there's an inheritance tax, then you would pay your portion on that inheritance. In Arkansas, we do not have an inheritance tax. Now, as opposed to an inheritance tax, the estate tax is a tax on the estate, on the size of the estate. It started out many years ago, if your estate exceeded $600,000, then there was an estate tax. And that ultimately grew to $1 million. And then in 2001, the estate tax was to be done away with by 2010. And every 2 or 3 years it increased from $1 million to $1.5 million, and then $2 million. And ultimately $3.5 million was the largest estate that you could have last year without having to pay an estate tax. Well, the interesting thing is if you die in 2010, this year, you could be the richest person in America and you would not have to pay an estate tax, because there is no estate tax, as the law presently reads, in 2010. But we're, as I read an article not too long ago, we're somewhat in the twilight zone, because everyone from 2001 to 2009 was convinced that by 2009 we would have revised that, doing away with the estate tax, and come up with something like a $3.5 million to $5 million ceiling that could pass tax-free. For whatever reason, that was not done, and so this year, as we presently sit here, there is no estate tax. The problem, though, is twofold. Number one is that in 2011, the estate tax goes back to the 2001 level, which is everything over $1 million will be taxed. If you're a couple, you could have $2 million, but everything over that will be taxed. Again, that's as we're presently sitting here today. The second problem with the tax, or no tax, is that your property keeps the basis that you had in it when you originally purchased the property at your death, if you die in 2010. So if you bought stock 30 years ago for $10 a share and it's now worth $100 a share, and you die this year, there will be no estate tax on that, regardless of how much it is. But if your children or your heirs decide to sell it, then there will be a $90 capital gains tax on that inheritance, $90 per share capital gain tax. Or if your parents bought a small home 30 years ago and paid $30,000 or $40,000 for it, and it's now worth $100,000 or $130,000, and they die, and you inherit that home and you sell it, you could be exposed to a capital gains tax. So I'm still convinced that they will do something in 2010 with the estate tax, but right now, as it presently stands, there is no inheritance tax in Arkansas, and at this point there is no estate tax. But in 2011, it will come back into play. Now, one other thing, because on taxes, everybody's wanting to know what's the bottom line on taxes. This year, 0 on those two areas. But if you inherit from your parents, let's say, an IRA that they've put back, that was put back without taxes. And so if you take that out, then there will be income taxes on that IRA because it was put back without paying taxes. And I think that's always important to keep all of these tax matters kind of in your mind as you are both preparing your own estate or working with the attorney or whomever on someone else's estate. If you have any other questions, please feel free to call me. My telephone number is 870-425-3464. We have a website. It's www.strotherfirm.com. That's STROTHERFIRM.com.